Know who you are without anyone's approval, acceptance, implication, right? Words. You have to know your triggers. You have to know what gets you like, what makes you make that facial expression. Because baby, it ain't cute. And I'm still learning because I make a facial expression. When, how, and what? The difference between people who care and don't care is that they do it anyway. Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. It's Enlarge, and today we're going to jump right into the topic. So we're going to be talking about how to not care what other people think about you. I think this is a topic that a lot of people always ask this question when they're pursuing a new journey, whether it's starting their own business or creating content. So when people are trying to kind of transition into a new phase in their life and they're trying to just embark on a new journey and try something new and be bold and be, dare to dream, right? And follow their dreams. The first thing people always ask is, how do I not care what other people think? People always say, like, how do you just not care? How are you not worried about what people are going to say? People that you went to high school with, people that you used to know. First and foremost, y'all, you need to focus on your values. You need to focus on yourself and the things that you love. When you enlarge that focus on you, and I know that may sound selfish to some, but fortunately, you got to put you first. You have to think about yourself because people are thinking about themselves as well, right? So when you focus on the things that you love and you enjoy and your passions, it's so much easier to take the focus off of what other people are thinking about you. Okay, so this is also tied into the video that I just posted before this about alchemy and just introspection and kind of looking within. So this is where you kind of have to do some deep inner work. You really have to kind of dissect yourself and make sure that you are checking yourself. You are really aligning your actions with your values. You are really just staying true to yourself. You're authentic, your belief systems, your values. If you don't know what your values are, I'm going to put a link here. James Clear, he has a kind of like a core values list on his website, I believe. And I think he has 50 different values. And I encourage you guys to look through that and what stands out to you. I'm going to list my personal values here so that you guys can see. And maybe you and I have some of the same values. And maybe that's going to help you out. Because when you know what you value, you kind of just align things in your life with those values. Whether it's people, whether it's your environment, whether it's habits, you make everything conducive to those values. Therefore, you're able to live authentically. And then you kind of slowly start not caring what people think. This isn't something that happens overnight. I really want you guys to understand that it took me a long time to be this person. And I still have my moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what is this person gonna think? But I always come back to, this is my world, y'all. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but Michelle Obama did an interview and she was talking about how every time she says something, she always overthinks. Like, she's like, did I say something wrong? And I really want to find it. And if I find it, I'm going to put the link below, or I'm going to put something here because I always like to source what I say. I never want to just say anything. But she talked about that and I'm like, wow, the difference between people who care and don't care is that they do it anyway. She said that she was worried about the things she would say and if people, would give her like backlash and stuff. But she still says it anyways. Life is about doing it anyways, okay? We have to be, fear is not going anywhere, unfortunately. The enemy is lurking, okay? He's waiting for any opportunity. We need to just be okay with the fact that he's gonna be there and there's nothing we can do about it. But what we do know is that at the end, good always overpowers evil. In order for light has to come out of dark. You know what I'm saying? And so always bring yourself back to that if you are good and pure-hearted, if you are pure in your intentions, you will come out surpassing the things that you never thought you could. So yes, focusing on your values. I really encourage you to visit that James Clear website I put up. What stands out to you? What are your values, right? Know who you are without anyone's approval, acceptance, implication, right? Words. Knowing who you are without people cheering for you really is going to determine what the type of work you produce with 1 follower and with 1 million followers. You want to be the same person regardless who's watching, right? Because character is what is done when nobody is looking, and character is what takes you far in life. It's what helps you remain authentic and genuine, and that is a skill that you want to have in creative innovation and entrepreneurship and just being a business owner, being authentic to you. What makes you stand out, right? Not even against your competitors, because we're not worrying about other people, right? Just for ourselves, like what makes me different? What makes you different? Bring that to the table. You have to accept yourself. That is the first step for not caring what other people think is accepting who you are with your flaws, the things you don't like about yourself, the things you love about yourself. You have to accept it all, right? You have to know your triggers. You have to know what gets you like, what makes you make that facial expression, because baby, it ain't cute. And I'm still learning because I make a facial expression. But you know what? I kind of love it. I feel like it brings a little vibe, but I am learning how to tone it down a little bit and not really just be so like harsh, because sometimes people don't really know you like that and you don't want to offend them, but also you don't want to think too much. You want to be respectful, but also I am going to be authentic to who I am. Sometimes I make a lot of facial expressions. Just try your best to not be disrespectful, rude. Just be mindful of the things that you're doing and how they are affecting other people. I think being mindful, self-aware, and considerate is super, super important. So the first step is accepting yourself. You have to accept yourself. If you don't want to care what other people think, you need to accept all of you, the good, the bad, the ugly, the pretty, and work on the things that you want to work on. You have to really just take initiative and go for it. Scared, fearful, you got to go for it. I don't know what to tell you. You just got to go for it. And life rewards the person who throws themselves out there, okay? Take the risk. The bigger the risk, the greater the reward. It's a true thing, y'all. Number 2, so we're just going to elaborate on focusing on yourself. I basically kind of touched on this already, but just habits, passions, and pure bliss. What makes you happy? For me, y'all, I always say this, and my friends tell me this. My friends are like, you need to start a talk show. Like, why don't you have a talk show? I'm like, I have a YouTube. But they're like, talking. Talking is my thing. I love talking. Reasons why I started my podcast. Truth be told, I majored in landscape architecture. Just a quick little story time. And I used to be extremely nervous, y'all. Like, if you are one of my classmates and you're watching this, hey boo. But I know you remember my voice shaking. Like, I used to get up on that stage. We used to present every 2 weeks, by the way. When I say my majors helped me so much with my public speaking, with my communication, with relating to my audience, shout out landscape architecture, because the presentations were endless. But when I say I was so nervous, y'all, my voice used to shake. Now, mind you, today it's not perfecto. Like, my voice isn't like not shaking. I still get nervous. I still have my moments. But most importantly, I rise above. I've learned to kind of realize that if I don't plan what I'm saying, if I don't have notes, or if I'm in practice, like there's little things that if I don't do, I will be nervous. So you need to figure out the things that will help you be successful. So I knew for me, like if I didn't plan, if I did wait at last minute, I would be so nervous because I'm like, what am I going to say? I'm going to mess up. I'm presenting in front of probably a future employer or my professor who's going to grade my project. There's a lot of things that are that are just making me anxious. And it's like, okay, fail to plan, right? Y'all, fail to plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? So that's what it was. I would just fail to plan. Reasons why I've really gotten on my planning game and just kind of organization and just doing all the things that I need to do, y'all. So again, accept yourself. Focus on yourself, okay? Once you accept yourself, it's kind of like the foundation. It's like you're growing the roots of your tree. Now, when you focus on yourself, you kind of start branching out, okay? Like you're going the stem, you're going the different parts, yada, yada, yada. You're just doing what you need to do. But everything is a step-by-step process. And what most importantly, I like Oprah Winfrey because at the beginning of her podcast, she says, take time. I believe that's what she says. Take time. Time is important. Now, this doesn't mean waste time, but take time and be efficient in your time and do the deep inner work, even if it hurts. I actually had a conversation with my sister earlier in the week, and it was a really hard conversation. It made me cry. A little bit of background. My sister majored in psychology and she's very big on, mindset. And she's a very big believer in God and I love her and I go to her for everything. And she just told me some truth, y'all. And when I say I needed to hear it, it kind of turned something in me. And you have to have those hard conversations. And those are the conversations that will eventually allow you to grow into the person God wants you to be. But you cannot be hard-headed. You have to be humble. And you have to be willing to listen to the hard things and use it as a mechanism and as a means to grow as an individual. If you can't have hard conversations, it's going to be really hard for you to progress. So sometimes we are in our own way. And I just wanted to throw that in there. And I hope that resonates with somebody. So focus on our values, accepting ourselves, focusing on ourselves, okay? This is really elaborating on, okay, these are my values. What is it that I can do that aligns with my values? Okay, so for example, I value loyalty. I value respect. So for me, I align myself with things that allow me to show respect to others. So whether it's traditions and cultures, for an example, I'm in Japan. This is a very big culture place. It's very big on respect. They're very big on bowing your head and being respectful. I love being here. Me being here is making me thrive because I love the just the atmosphere, the way people treat you. Respect means everything to me, and I feel like it's because of the way I was raised and my mother. Loyalty, when it comes to my friendships, when it comes to the people in my life, I'm loyal to them to a T. And my best friends will tell you that. My sister will tell you that. I don't play. I go hard for the people I love, and I believe that you should. So that's my personal value. What do you value, and how can you act in your life in a way that aligns with that? I hope that makes sense. Next point. I kind of touched on this in the first point. Everyone is in their own world, okay? When I always tell myself this, like, have you ever, do you ever drive and think that everyone's looking at you, and then you look up and nobody's looking at you? My point. Sometimes it's called it's a psychological term. It's called the spotlight effect, I believe. Whatever it is, I'm gonna put it over here. But basically, it's talking about how we really think everyone's looking at us, and they're not. They're actually really worried about themselves. Remember, everybody we are all experiencing the same thing, some better, some worse. So we have to remember that what we're going through, we're not the first people to go through. There was somebody who went through it before us, and it's okay, right? So really always remind yourself of that. And it really takes reminders. I think sometimes we make ourselves believe that this should come easy to us, and it shouldn't. Take time. Things will come as you grow, as you age. And that's what they say, with age comes wisdom. That's why do you think we listen to our elders, and a lot of older people have a lot of wisdom to provide, and it's because of their life experiences. So that's why we should read and educate ourselves and learn from them, so that we can ultimately, not make the same mistakes, and, pass down our knowledge to the next generation. It's just a vibe, y'all. It's a vibe, okay? So everyone's in their own world. Be in yours. Be in your own world, y'all. Focus on yourself. And when you enlarge that, you kind of just tune out the noise. The noise is tuned out. You're focused on yourself. It's a vibe. This doesn't mean it's going to be easy. We are dealing with our mind. Remember, our mind is constantly chattering, telling us things. But we all know that the mind is what? Whatever we feed it. We got to focus on the positive, okay? 4, create a system to sustain habits so that you can thrive, right? Creative environment and y'all, create an environment that's conducive to growth. I talked about this in my previous video too, low-key, and I love that with these topics, I feel like the conversation kind of overlaps in a sense, because I feel like introspection is the basis for a lot of success and a lot of good things, is really self. Obviously, I always say God first, but God helps those who help themselves, and faith without works is dead. So God will help you, but you got to help yourself and get out of your own way, okay? So create an environment that's conducive to growth. This means that set yourself up for success. If you have dishes in the sink, you're more than likely not going to make your warm water or make your smoothie in the morning, because you have to instead use the energy now to wash the dishes. As opposed to your dishes being washed, you wake up in the morning. This happened to me this morning, by the way. I woke up this morning, I was groggy and tired, okay? I had dishes in the sink because I had a really late meeting. Remember, I'm in Japan time. This is not an excuse, but I'm just telling you guys background. Really, really late meeting. I said, damn. I was so tired, so I'm going to sleep. I made some lavender tea too, y'all. Knocked me out. Woke up in the morning, dishes in the sink. Damn. Washed the dishes, made my smoothie, made my warm water and turmeric. Now, was it something I wanted to do? Absolutely not. I did it. But what I'm saying is, if I would have set myself up the night before and kind of, pushed through, in the morning, I probably would have felt just a tad bit better. I still feel better. I still continued my routine, and I still did what I had to do, but it took an extra push. So setting yourself up for success is kind of just doing things to maximize your energy. Energy is something that's expended. We want to make sure that we're using it wisely. So let's see, what's another example? My bed, making my bed. When my bed is made, look at that. Now, what if I filmed this video and you saw all that stuff in the bag? And honestly, I really didn't make it for the video. I just happened to make it. I was like, oh, the bed corner. And I kind of like how Snooch wrote in a video. It's giving a vibe, right? So there's just certain things that, you can do to just make your life a little more easier, okay? Simplify your life. Minimalism is also a thing. I try not to have too many things. Now, this doesn't work for everybody, but for me, I just can't do it. When I have too many things, my mind it's already running. So it starts sprinting, and I'm just like, I need you to stop, okay? So do the things you need to do. Take some time to I'll put some questions here for you guys to ask yourself. What are some things that you can do to kind of make your environment conducive to growth, conducive to success, conducive to sustaining those positive habits? Remember, we want to kind of continue this snowball effect so that we can maximize our life, okay? The last and final point, people will talk regardless, okay? People talk about this all the time. Good or bad, you can be the best person in the world and someone will find something wrong with you, period, okay? I know so many philanthropists and people out there that people talk so much about. You can be the best person in the world. You can be the nicest, the most humblest, and people will find a way to still humble you. You got to know who you are. This takes me back to our first point. You got to know your values. You got to know who you are. And you can't let this world shake you, y'all. That's the first thing I got to tell you. You can't let this world shake you. I saw another quote. It said, I think it said, like, if you're happy with the booze, you die at the nays or something. Like, if you are only happy when someone's applauding you, or when you blow up on a video, or, when you're growing your following, and then you're sad when it's the opposite, your feelings and your happiness will always be dependent on something outside of yourself. And that is just not how you want to live your life, because you're going to go through a lot of ebbs and flows. You have to train yourself to be okay with 1 follower or 1 million followers. You have to train yourself to be okay with the things you have now, because guess what? God cannot give you more if right now it's not enough. And I'm pretty sure if you were to look into your life right now, there is something you can be grateful for. There's something you have that others don't have, whether it's internal, right? Whether it's a gift that you may not be using, or whether it's external and it's something that, you have that somebody doesn't have, or whether you just feel like you have something, whatever it is, there is something that you can be grateful for. So always remind yourself about that. If you want God to give you more, you have to use what you have now. Let God see that you're resourceful. Let God see that, damn, she only has that, but she's still using that gift. Wow. She doesn't have, a camera. She doesn't have the tools, but she's still using what she has, right? You do show God that you are able to do a lot with a little, right? The story of the talents, right? This is another topic for another day in the Bible, but just, be faithful with little. Do good with little. Do good now. There's not going to be a perfect time, y'all. The time is ticking. And I don't want to put anybody under pressure, but I'd be putting myself under pressure. But it's true, though. We're getting older, okay? I'm 27, and in my eyes, I'm like, 27? When, how, and what? 27? Where did that come from? Okay, wow. They like to say the pandemic took 3 years of our lives, and I agree. But what I'm trying to say is, y'all, maximize your time. Maximize your time. That's like my favorite thing. I think I'm going to get that on a shirt. Maximize your time, okay? That looks different to everybody, okay? Remember, focus on yourself. Use social media less. I realize for me, when I post consistently and I do things, I consume content, because in order to create, you have to consume, right? Because we are kind of just feeding off of each other in this creative pursuit. But you have to minimize the consumption, y'all, because the noise is too much. You have to let your own ideas flow. I always tell myself consuming is very important. It inspires me immensely. But if I'm not creating as much as I consume, what am I really doing, right? Energy needs to be expended. Let it run through you. Let the ideas flow and just maximize your life, y'all. So I am going to just leave it there. And I want to leave you guys with do you and put God first, okay? That is like my motto. That is my wake up. That is my period, okay? I hope this video impacted you in a positive way. I hope that you were able to just, learn something. And I hope that it helped you in some way. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment below. Let me know what type of videos you want to see in terms of introspection or, self-awareness and self-love. I love talking about stuff like this. Like I said before, I have a podcast, Lounging with Lola. I'm going to put it here. I'll put it down in the caption. And thank you for being here, y'all. Bye.